the show. Hey guys, it's You Up with Nikki Glaser. It is Tuesday. Yeah, I think I got it right. It's Tuesday. It feels like one. I am so excited about the show today. It was a joy coming into work today because I love everyone here. I was late because Starbucks, I did a mobile order at 9:45. I placed it, and at 10 o'clock it still hadn't been put up on the thing. And I was still waiting down there 4 minutes ago when the show was supposed to start. And I value coffee over being on time. That's what I realized. That's how deep my addiction to caffeine is. But you guys get it. I haven't even had any yet. Doesn't it sound like I've had some? Just the anticipation that there's coffee on the way. Because I had to abandon the order. I just told them, I'm sorry guys, I gotta go. And they were just like, we don't care. Welcome to the show. You're listening to Anya Marina's voice behind me.
Oh, I was like, no, that's you.
No, that's me, bitch. That's you, bitch. Anya Marina, welcome back to the show.
It's so good to be here.
This is the song called Dynamite. Add it to your playlist.
Thank you.
Share, add. What do you
share,
think?
add, follow. Then I can afford more Starbucks. Why are we giving these people our business with our
Starbucks?
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean?
I mean, we're just
delicious
giving them free advertising on Sirius XM.
No, everyone knows about Starbucks. This
They
isn't
do?
like, yeah, I think, but I just told our other guest, JP McDade. Welcome to the show, JP.
Hello. Thank you.
First time here. You, hilarious comedian, up and coming comedian, joke writer. We'll get into that later. But you told me you go Dunkin' Donuts.
Honestly, when I was working in an office job, the most important people in my life were the people who worked at Dunkin'.
Yeah,
They're the greatest human beings.
You
in
were
the world.
working at Dunkin' Donuts, though.
Well, I don't want to split hairs here, but yeah, that was involved.
Rachel Feinstein is here. Welcome back to the show, Rach.
Hi.
Oh my
I'm
God.
ready to get nasty.
Oh, puss nasty.
Puss nasty today.
Oh God, you look amazing. Why do you look so good?
I
I'm
don't.
sorry to
I'm
comment on your looks
hypnotized by you.
right away, but you
I really
look
am.
stunning.
I'm hypnotized by your décolletage.
Oh God.
It's
Really?
all. I always
Okay,
have
I didn't
been,
mean to
though.
make you uncomfortable with that, but you really do
No,
look
I'll
banging.
take it. I'll take it. I feel
And
gross.
your hair and
feel
your beautiful
gross.
eyes.
I understand it. As soon as I said it, I go, she doesn't feel as beautiful as she looks. And
Yeah,
I
I was like,
gone
oh,
there.
don't bring that up. That's bad. That's
I
not in a
know.
good place.
I hate when people go,
That's your
you look
personality.
beautiful, Nikki. And I'm like, it's not one of those days. And I'm not going to let that sink in. It's going to bounce off of me and stick to you like rubber glue. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
Well, Rach, good to see you. JP,
You too.
great to have you here. JP McDade, is just such a funny guy. You need to follow him on Twitter, Instagram, JP McDade. He wrote for me for the roast and got more jokes into my set than any other writer. And I probably asked 40 to 50 people to write for me. I cast a wide net because I was just scared of, am I going to even be able to do this? And so,
yeah, I was hearing all about you. Yeah, and how much you wrote for and how
God.
amazing
I'm
your stuff
freaking
was.
blushing right now, you guys.
I
I
mean-
match our Merlot shirts with my face right now.
Yeah.
I'm blushing so much.
Yeah, it is Merlot.
So, like, whenever I would get, because I would get these batches of emails from all these writers, like, as they came, and whenever I would get one from JP, I'd be like, yes! And I would be so excited, just like, he was a joke machine. So, if you're out there listening and you have a writing staff, I honestly want him to be off the market, so when I get a show, he can write for it. But you're missing out by not using this guy. He's one of the best writers I've met in my career, like in terms of joke writers.
Jesus Christ.
It's true, JP. It really is. Like, I'm astounded by the amount that you gave me and that the amount that made it through. Like, it's in almost nearly, I would have said it was impossible to get 3 jokes into my set. That is like, what did I tell? 15 jokes. So like, a fifth of my set was your writing, and I had help from 40 to 50 comedians plus myself, and I'm brilliant. And so you beat me. Like that was so.
Well,
if
I'm
you're
going to try
writing,
not to cry now. Jesus.
if you're
Can
looking
you-
to staff a writing show, JP McDade, I'm not kidding you. And you've never written on a show before, right?
I wrote on Comedy Knockout for one
Oh,
season.
that's right.
And I wrote on another pilot for Comedy Central.
So you have a
last
little
season.
experience,
But you're still a hidden
still kinda
gem.
hidden gem, and I am going to take all the credit when you do get a job, because I'm putting it out there. Like, you need, if you're listening, like, you better give me credit when you put him on his staff, but
Yes.
on your
This
staff.
feels like a prank at this point.
No, it's not. You really, I don't do this often. I did it for Lisa Curry, and she got a job.
I worked with her at Knockout.
Yes,
She was
that's
great.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're listening out there, I know a lot of industry listens to the show as they're tooling around LA in traffic. If you need a writer on your show, you need a great joke writer, JP McDade, look no further.
Oh my God.
Can you tell us like what one of the jokes was?
Well, which ones did you get in? Do you remember?
The first one was Sean Hayes, you look like the little man on top of a wedding cake that a
bakery would refuse to make for you.
That's so good.
That was one of the early ones that was just like, yep, that's
I
going
think it was
in.
one of the first ones I sent. And then, like, when I heard you say that on the roast, it was like, oh, that's what the last 5 years have been building toward. Like, that exact little moment right there.
No, it's so fun. I love that I get to give that feeling to comics who haven't had their stuff on TV or whatever. Like, I know what that feels like. It's so good.
This is the beginning for you.
Nuts. Oh
the
my God.
Writer's Bubbler, a very popular publication, called you one to watch.
The Writer's Bubbler.
And
the Writing Tattler called you the hottest bad boy in writing today.
The Bubbler is good. It's not the Plank, but it's pretty good. I'm waiting to get written up in the Plank.
The Plank is hovering. They're listening.
Was it clear to you when I sent you all those emails that I literally had nothing else going on in my life?
No, but it
there was a real
clear
Ted
to me.
Kaczynski vibe to all these jokes that I was sending Nikki. Just hold away
How
and
long
fucking
was
shit.
your manifesto?
No, everyone's writing about your even car magazines. They said it was sexier than the newest four-door.
I got 4 stars from Auto Trader from my joke writing. I was fucking thrilled.
Yeah, it was really good, dude. And he does amazing impressions too. We'll maybe get into that later on. Who are you
not
doing for
compared to
Stick or
Rachel.
Treat?
It was last night.
Oh, well, who did you do? So Stick or Treat is a comedy event in New York City, and I think they do it in LA, where comedians dress up like other comedians and do an act of another comedian, either the jokes of the other comedian or you make up your own material and say it like that comedian. I don't
Yeah,
even know
most
the
of the
rules.
time I've made up my own material in the voice of that person.
So who'd you do last night?
Last night I did a character called Bernie Mac Sanders. And it was
Oh
what
my
you think
God.
it is. But
That's so edgy.
it was a big swing,
white guy.
but it hit. So that's the thing. You got to work around.
How
Find a
did
way
you
to
do
be
it?
Bernie
Black
Mac.
Did you
Jewish
dress
man.
like Bernie Sanders
Yeah.
or Bernie Mac?
Bernie
Please?
Sanders.
Okay.
But I did blackface.
So you did old face.
But I did.
Old blackface.
I had this Bernie Sanders wig because I've been doing like other shows as him, and I just basically did that. But like I modified the pants a little bit to be like Bernie Mac's pants from that Def Jam show.
Oh, that's
And
hilarious.
I like put a picture of Bernie Sanders' face on the thigh.
I love a
I went back
disheveled
and
Bernie
forth.
Sanders impression.
It's the best.
Giannis Pappas has the funniest joke about him. He says he sounds like a substitute teacher that's constantly losing control of the classroom.
That is so good.
My bit about him for a while was that whenever I see him on TV, it looks like he got there through a series of accidents.
Yes.
Fell down a manhole or something.
You're right. He's like that guy, like the host of like those like corny old school like talk shows where they kind of like skid in, you know, like they barely made it on their own show. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Bernie Sanders, video out.
How did it? Can we hear some of the joke you did from it?
It went pretty well, I gotta say. I set it up when you come out. There's no better way to start a set than be like, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. And then like, so I started off as Bernie Mac, and then I like blended into Bernie Sanders, where it was like, I love sex, I love it by the pound. Like just doing his material. And then
That's
some
really
freestyling in there. You can't freestyle as Bernie Mac. You got to do the actual text, but with Bernie Sanders, you can kind of wing it.
Yeah. God, impressions scare me. Like I can only do them for like 2 seconds.
We
And
talked about this. I mean, your Aniston is fucking perfect.
But it's a ripoff of. I think it's a ripoff of Vanessa Bayer's. Like I feel like I just saw her do it and then I adapt it. Like, do you ever question where things come from?
They usually come from another impression.
Really?
Yeah,
you think so?
In most cases, like
and then
everyone.
you adapt.
Yeah, like everyone is doing Jay Moore's Christopher Walken.
Oh,
That's like that all came
wow.
from like 1995 or whatever.
Interesting.
But some of them come from nowhere, but like a lot of them are just.
JP does an amazing Jesselneck.
Please do it.
It's not a real stretch for my natural voice.
Oh my God! Wow,
Kind
that's
of
Wow.
that is
talk about
killing
yourself.
impression.
Talk about yourself.
Wow, that was eerie.
Rachel, do you do any comedians impressions? Other comedians?
I don't know. I don't really try that. I guess I could maybe try to do Sarah.
Silverman?
Sort of. I'm trying to think. I'm already regretting doing this. It's not going to be very good, especially after that. I can't follow you.
No, I didn't mean to
But,
set you up for failure.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of a joke.
But you
of
have so many
hers.
like characters. You do like your mom and stuff, and all these different
Yeah,
original
I do
characters.
more characters, but I'm trying to think of how she. Like, how come every time I take a shower with my boyfriend, my tits end up squeaky clean?
Yes. You gotta see her
kinda
face
can
too.
do it. It's more the face.
your mouth.
Yeah, it's more the face
Yes.
and the affect. But
Silverman lip.
Yep, the
Yeah,
Silverman
it's
lip.
just this sort of, like the, but yeah, nobody can
yeah.
see this, so I actively regret it.
I do you sometimes too, and I can't think of how I do it now because you're in front of me. But have you ever heard me do you?
He's
No.
a deep moron.
Guttural alcohol. Wait, I'm not doing it right, but sometimes I can really nail you, and people get impressed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, please do
I didn't
it.
know that you
I just
didn't know that.
misuse and repurpose words and yeah.
You're brilliant. Talk about you. I mean, watching you the other night. God damn, what were you talking about? Feelings corner. I mean, you've kind of
What's feelings corner?
just talking
Such
about.
a dickhead. I was just talking about how my husband doesn't like acknowledge that he has like an emotional history. He'll be like, I never had any issues, not in childhood or today. I'm like, really, just a straight shot for you because you just punched the microwave. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. And he'll say that he didn't really.
Straight shot for you.
He's always sort of says that he just like, nothing ever really. I'm like, really, nothing at all. And so when I want to talk about something emotional, I'll be like, we're gonna have feelings corner on the bed just to scare him. And he's actively terrified of feelings corner, even though he's like a fireman and he would race into a burning building. But he's like, no, fuck that
Just
shit.
light the bed on fire.
That's the guy I
jump right
want
in.
not having any feelings, though. That's gonna
No,
be
it
good.
actually, I mean, it is kind of. It works for them,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they
makes
have to be
sense.
vaguely psychotic to do what they do.
Oh, right.
So, but yeah, he's scared of feelings corner. He acts like I asked if I could like bury him alive when I tell him we're going to have a gentle discussion of emotions with a woman on a bed. He really does. He acts like I've asked if we would go in the hole at Rikers or something. But what I've been doing lately is I just start a British novel about however I'm feeling. So like I came home and I was like basically just telling the story I told on stage. But I came home and I was trying to explain something to him, and he just kept talking about some bad fantasy football trade he made. And I was like, it was at that moment that she realized she was truly alone in the marriage. There was a bird in the yard that she felt closer to than her own husband. And it weirdly works, the British noveling. I do it every day now. He's like, oh, come here, babe. Fuck that bird. I'm sorry.
And he's the character who's like, my dear, I've traded for Antonio Brown, and it was a mistake.
That's great.
Oh my God, that's so
I use British
funny.
noveling
Fuck
for
that
everything
bird,
now.
babe.
I lost by
over
less
here.
than a point to Jerry last week.
I was talking
It
yesterday
gutted me.
on the show or to someone about how I've arrived at this kind of conclusion that I don't want a lot of comedians want their significant other to be separate from comedy, not someone like that they have to tote around to the Comedy Cellar at night, and that someone that like they can keep their life and work their romantic
Right.
life and work separate. And I was like, I think that Rachel's found a perfect blend of someone that can hang out when he needs to, and everyone's excited when Pete's there, and Pete is relaxed. He's not trying to be anything that he's
Yeah.
not. Like he's a guy that doesn't do comedy that isn't threatened by comedians because he's a fucking firefighter. It's the only thing that's cooler than being a comedian to men. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's like it's the only thing that they'll respect. I feel like also like because when regular civilians, as we call them, walk up to the like cellar table. Comics are wild dickheads, and they just they're narcissists and they don't want to deal with them. But that's how it feels when you walk into the firehouse. Like they have that table, and when you walk into the firehouse, like there's like a chemical you're changing by walking up to these guys playing poker at the table. So he has his table, he has his
Yes.
thing, and firemen love their jobs. Like there was some report came out in Bloomberg, and it was like they're the highest job satisfaction in America.
Yeah, they take so much pride
They love
in their
being
work.
firemen because everybody like stops and just thanks him for his service everywhere. Like I thought I had the compelling job, and people are just like, "Thank you for your service."
And if I had to
wow.
like hang out at a table with firemen, I'd be like literally shaking.
Yes.
There's no way to
exactly.
like not
You should
try to be more of a
see.
tough guy in that situation.
Yeah.
These guys just like they do start like they act. I'm surprised they don't ask for his autograph sometimes. Some of these male
seriously.
comics that hover around him, they all look up to
People
him so much.
probably
They
want
think
a
he's so
picture.
cool.
What's up, man? You want to go punch bricks?
Yeah.
Just try to act cool and tough. No.
Punch bricks. That's the comedian's idea of tough.
Do you get
so
a gun?
funny.
I want to be a fireman.
But then the other night you came to the cellar alone, which is what I thought you were alone. You joined me and
was waiting
Phil
in the car.
Hanley. Yeah, we were at the table for a good hour. You were slowly eating your soup. I just thought Rachel's here to hang. She's got nowhere to be. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go. Pete's in the car."
Oh my
You're like,
God.
"What?
That
Pete's in the
sounds
car?"
vaguely abusive.
No,
but-
it doesn't, because it was so perfect. Because listen to what it was. What was he doing?
Well, he likes to play chess on his phone. So he was playing chess, and I was like, he offered to drive me, and he likes driving. Also, he likes driving and parking. I've never related to anything less. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, because it's always a good time to see if you can get a spot in the Westville. Like he likes the
worst
challenge
thing
of
in the
parking.
world.
Yeah, I can't think of anything more actively awful. So he always offers to drive, and then I'll be like, "Do you want to come in?" And most of the time, he's like, "Nah, I'll just play chess," and he likes to play chess on his phone. So the more time I'm in there, he's. I don't
What
think
a
I've ever
great
gotten a text
relationship.
from him like, "Where are you?" You know, like
That's awesome.
I could come home at 4 a.m.
Does he play Sudoku too? He sounds smart and cool.
He's really into chess. He's so boring. I mean, it makes me weep when I start to think about how boring chess or any discussion of chess is. And I have to listen to these videos. There's like this
What
Russian guy that he
videos?
listens to every morning, and he's like, "Good morning, everyone.
guy
I
is
have
like,
fun chess hack for you."
And then it's knight c6, bishop f4. That
Yes!
guy. I've watched a couple of those.
Wait,
yeah.
do you like chess too?
I'm on a kick right now, but I'm trash. I'm so dumb. I can't do it.
It's like a smart guy's like thing.
I'm trying to fake like cosplay being a smart person
Yeah.
by doing it. But if your husband wasn't doing something he enjoyed in the car for all that time, that would be like a borderline BDSM thing.
yeah, no, that wouldn't be
But
acceptable at all.
he seems to be enjoying himself.
I mean,
Yeah, I
it's-
just
it's-
loved that he was patiently waiting, but like he was having a better time than probably we were, and like what a great
He's an introvert.
relationship.
Like he
Yeah.
likes to,
I
he
relate
likes to
to that a
read and
lot.
research and do his chess and stuff like that.
I could
So,
sit in the
yeah.
car on my phone for hours.
Yeah.
The
I don't.
best.
Yeah.
I love
Just having
driving.
a
I just
place to
find
sit down in New
sitting in
York.
cars very like soothing when they're parked. You know, like Adrian was doing her podcast, and Sarah Talamaki were doing their podcast in the
Talamash.
car. Talamash, sorry, and I found it very soothing just to sit in their car.
Oh my god, I
was like,
loved that podcast. You sit in their back seat, they sit in the front
Yeah.
seat, and then they don't drive around. You just sit there. It's a great little sound studio. You should listen to their podcast. It's called Vag, and they are two
So
of the
good.
funniest, darkest, coolest women. They're great. Talk about great joke writers too. Sarah Talamash,
Seriously.
Adrian Alapalucci, two other ladies that need writing jobs.
They're
stat.
so funny. I
If
thought
I
I
had
didn't want
jobs
to
to
leave
give,
the car.
boom. Thank you.
It
Did
was
you already
really
get Steve?
sad when it was over. I felt like I didn't get the closure I needed.
I
I
know.
was like, I'm not ready to get out yet.
I was like, can I join this podcast like permanently? That's how I felt. It's called Vag, so check that out.
It's like being in someone's vag. Mm-hmm. Right?
Again.
Sick. That
Just
rules,
being
dude.
in an enclosed car. More like a uterus. Like it should be called ute.
Very
You.
woman-like.
It's a great idea for a podcast. I love a podcast like where it's like easy to happen. Yeah, like I don't know. The one that I do every Friday comes out every Friday. I do it from a lot of the backs of Ubers on my couch. I can just do it on the go. I don't have to like go to a studio. Like there's usually so much work that goes into podcasts. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
No, I love a back of an Uber. I have Lyft and Uber guilt because I feel like I'm always in an Uber. Like,
Why do you have guilt? Oh, because you're not taking the train.
like never now. And I'll take an Uber for like a hauntingly short distance, like deeply shameful. Pretty gross. I don't even want to get into the specifics. but
It's
like 3 blocks.
I'm sorry, but Andrew got so mad at me the other day. We were walking from point A to point B, and at about 3 blocks away from point B, I said, I'm getting blisters on my feet from these shoes. I can feel them. They're about to like start.
Yeah.
And I'm not walking anymore. And he was like, it's 3 blocks. And I was
I've
like,
got bunions. I
Yeah.
don't have blisters.
yeah. He's
I got
like,
18 toes.
he goes, I'll carry you. I'm like, that's not what I'm done walking. We're going to get an Uber. He's like, it's 3 blocks. You can't. And I'm like, but then you know what I did? I walked because he was being a baby, and because the Uber did take us and it took us in the wrong direction. So we ended up having to walk, and my feet blistered. So when girls say they can't walk anymore, they're serious, because
They
then it
mean
affects
it.
you for weeks because you have open sores on your feet that can't heal, and then you can't go get a foot massage because the guy doesn't want to touch your feet, and it screws up your whole week.
It means we're actively mangled, and
Yes.
that's what happens with shoes. So if we say we can't walk, yeah, we're becoming mangled.
Yeah, the reason you probably take Ubers is because you're a woman and you have to wear woman shoes.
Oh
that
yeah,
aren't
you're always
comfortable.
in woman's shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I have boots on. Yeah, but I mean, it's that, and I'm also just a real slovenly person, and I have gross, like, shameful practices. You
But
know?
last night I could walk to the cellar. It's like I've lived in a place now where
Yeah.
I'm close to the cellar. That's why I moved there. And I spent all day trudging around the city. I was like, it would be such a nice walk to the cellar. And I was like, I don't want to. I just want to sit for like,
neither.
it's so nice to walk out of my apartment, get in a car, drop like,
Oh, I love it.
I don't have, because when you're walking, you can't be on your phone. You can't be getting work done. That's why I love Ubers in LA.
Yes,
I
get all my phone calls done.
I get all of my work done because I don't sit down to get work done. Work gets done in between meetings.
Yes.
In Ubers, on the train, like when I have time to sit. When you're walking, you absolutely cannot be on your phone.
Yeah, and if people will say it's a workout, like my husband takes these weird, haunting, like 4-hour walks. Like he'll work on a firehouse on like 100 something street and walk all the way back to Brooklyn.
Jesus.
And that's fine, but I don't like that. I don't like a meandering, explorative workout. It grosses me out. I want to go to the gym, get it done. That's it.
I am not a slow person, and I hate slow shit. I
You
don't
hate long dinners that are like 7 courses. You get very stressed out.
I like a long dinner, but I don't. Because I don't know what example. Do you remember
You
when
told me once, like when I think we were going out with a group or something. Maybe my family. I can't remember.
Well,
what.
I don't like eating anywhere besides 2 restaurants.
Yeah,
that's probably what was the problem.
Sbarro and Starbucks.
No,
I just remember you saying
Starbucks is one of them probably.
I get stressed out at 5. Sbarro, the pizza place.
I think I get stressed out at like having to eat. I think it's
multiple courses.
Multiple courses equals gourmet food equals they're putting weird things in the meal that I don't want. Like the worst thing you can do is be like, I'm gonna make you a meal, and I'm like every time I go to a club and they have like a chef, they're like, the chef is gonna make you a vegan smorgasbord of whatever you want, and I'm like, I know what I like. It's so boring. The chef will not get to do anything interesting, and I'm going to be a disappointment to all of you. I just know what I like. I don't want amuse-bouches. I don't want like smears on a plate with a little pea souffle.
God, I hate a smear. Fuck a smear. It doesn't address anything.
I don't like a foam.
I just
like
what
you
I
tried
like.
so hard and you
food.
spent so much time, and I don't even like it. It's just water at this point.
Yeah,
But I like fancy stuff. Like I would love a pea puree.
I mean,
with a scallop and a mystery thing coming in the
I would act like I
it.
like it on a date, but I really wouldn't.
Yeah, it's how I am in a museum. Like I'd act like I was intrigued, but I'm always furious in museums.
I wish I
I'll
was
say it. I
normal.
hate museums and fucking bullshit. I feel like they're a graveyard for compelling things.
They're a scam.
Yeah.
Full of stuff that doesn't make any sense, and you have to act like you get it.
And just because it's in a museum doesn't mean it's good, by the way.
Right.
I went to the new museum on a Bumble date, and this guy had to read every plaque and give everything like it's due. Like he had to stand and take it in on everything, and I was trying to trash everything because it was some of the art was bad.
It was
dude.
literal
Bad.
trash. There was a trash can lid.
Yeah, that was one. That was actually the exhibit I enjoyed. Different trash cans, but it was just it. It was so bad, and that was the day I realized I was like, just because it made it in a museum doesn't mean it's good. Just because someone works the cellar doesn't mean they're good. Like, I'm sorry. Sometimes you can have a bad comic working at a good place. Like, just because it's reached this level of everyone else accepts it doesn't mean everyone needs to agree that it's amazing. It's still objective, and I don't. This guy wanted to take in everything, and he wouldn't make fun of anything with me. And last night, speaking of museums, I got into the Uber that took me to the cellar last night. The one I'm talking about. He was listening to a podcast about museums.
Oh God!
Because I asked him, "What is this?" And he goes, "It's a museum. There's a museum podcast."
Oh, you don't listen to the Guggenheim podcast?
It was.
There's a great chess podcast I think you'll like.
It was so terrible. I was like, this is the only thing worse than a museum.
Ew, a description of a museum and a podcast? It's vomitous.
The Guggenheim has some wonderful plaques next to the paintings. And we're going to take a break to talk about stamps.
I hate a plaque. I find them so deeply depressed. I become archaically depressed when and my husband stops and reads plaques. He wants to he'll read the plaque outside of a commercial real estate building. Can you think of anything more suffocatingly boring? He wants to get to the bottom of things. I've never wanted to get to the bottom of anything. He's always we're in a town and he's trying to get to the bottom of the town. I'm like, no, let's just get snacks. Shut the fuck up.
Oh no, plaques. My dad would always have to pull to the side of the road if there was some kind of like historical battle there. We'd have to read the plaque. And
wait, this is a bluff. We got to read about it.
Yes. Oh, I've seen so many bluffs in my childhood. I am like anti-nature now. Like I don't like hikes. I don't like camping. I don't like anything
redwood.
because my
Fuck a
dad
sequoia.
ruined me. from that stuff. My
dad too. He was always like, whenever his friend Rich Salzman would come, we'd have this real hostile monument DC schedule, and we'd always have to get up at the most foul time, like 8 a.m. Salzman really likes to get an early start. And then we'd head over to the Lincoln Memorial. It's just like, let's all just take our own lives.
That's why I'm scared to go to Europe, because I'm scared whoever I go with is going to want a museum hop, and I will do a couple, but I am not. I want to go to a Starbucks. I want to watch people watch. I want to comment on how girls dress differently here. I want to go to a discoteca. I want to go. No, I don't. I don't know what I want to do, but I don't care. Here's what I will say.
I want to go to a Starbucks.
I do. I go to Starbucks everywhere.
I've been to every Starbucks.
I remember,
Berlin, Auschwitz.
They've got a great one at Auschwitz. Oh my God. No, they don't.
It's off the chain.
Honestly, that would be my biggest concern about going to I would love to actually go to Auschwitz. Like is something that's not a museum. That's something I would like to go
We're all
see.
stopping ourselves from
I like
skinny
to go
latte
into,
jokes.
into places that were like houses and things. Like, not that Auschwitz was like a fun-loving resort, but I'm just saying, like, that at least it's like an experience. Like, the only museum I ever liked when I was a kid was one where you could taste some sort of Mexican exhibit where you could taste chocolate. If you could taste something.
Can you make it colder in here? Thank you so much.
And natural history, because they got dinosaurs. That's going to win everything.
Oh, remember when we were in Hawaii and we went to that coffee farm and we had to learn about how they make coffee, and I was like, we were just like, just give us coffee. Let's just go to the coffee shop in the plantation and let's get back in the helicopter and bye-bye.
There was a 40-minute bean processing monologue we had just.
Oh, that was fun though, because we were all on the same page about it.
Yeah,
which
we were
was
at least
like
all
this is
able to mock it.
AKA high.
No, we weren't high. I wasn't smoking weed back then, but we were just not into it. I just, that's the thing I fear about getting into a relationship, is like having to pretend like I care about stuff that normal girls care about.
That's all a relationship is.
What do you mean?
Just pretending. Oh my God, that's so interesting. That's so funny.
Oh, I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, that stinks, you're stinking it up. I don't care about that. No, it's fun.
I think that's the thing.
It's authentic. You can trash firemen too, because they all trash each other. They're like comedians. So like and he laughs real hard. Because again, they're not insecure. Making a lunch of, but most of them aren't. So like if we had, if we hook up and it's bad, I'll be like, you really just stunk it up tonight. That was no good.
I love that about him. He doesn't get his ego. When does your husband's ego get bruised? Because men's egos are so fragile. Do you? And it seems like Pete, the conversations we've had about your relationship, I never hear about him getting into these moods where his ego has been bruised in some way you didn't mean to make him mad. And because, in the past with men, I've accidentally said something that makes them feel less than, and they shut down, and you go, what's wrong? And they can't tell you because they're so, if they said it out loud, they'd be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I feel insecure because you made a sound when you saw a shirtless guy on TV, and it made me feel like I'm not hot. If he had to say that out loud, it would be painful for him, and he would have to address it. So instead, he bottles up his rage and then eventually forgets why he was mad, and then he's just mad at me for 2 weeks about something that he doesn't even remember, and it causes so much devastation and so much hurt, because I just want guys to, if you're listening, men, when you get hurt by whatever your girlfriend or wife says, unless she analyze it and think, did she purposely try to make me feel bad? Because if she actually tried to hurt your feelings, then you should be mad. But we're all tiptoeing around your goddamn feelings all the time because you guys don't know how to handle them, because you weren't taught, because your moms didn't let you cry. So we're always trying to lift you up. I've never once tried to hurt a man
That's
that
why
I
we
love.
punch bricks.
Yes.
That's how we take it out.
But Rachel, do you ever feel like he gets his ego bruised?
Not with me. What the thing he can't handle is losing, and I don't care about winning, so I'm like, go ahead, but he doesn't like it if he loses something. So it's not personal. I could say anything
like
to
his
him.
Keys or like a game.
No, a game.
Yes,
He'll cry laughing if I told him he stunk it up in bed, or he'll be like, you got to talk about that on stage tonight. I did stink it up.
That's
right?
so fun.
So he likes it when people trash him, and he'd be the guy that would be like, enjoying it at a comedy club if you told him, if you were mocking his dumb outfit or something. He likes being trash, but he doesn't like losing a game. So like when we went to visit my niece and nephew in Santa Cruz, I was like, listen, he's into Madden. Just this, my nephew. I'm like, ask him about his Madden, play the game with him, and let him fucking win. And so he starts playing, and then Pete was like, I'm sorry, but I hear him crying, my nephew. And Pete's like, I'm sorry, it was an amazing play. Like, a touchdown does not happen like that.
God.
He was like, it was a beautiful play. And I'm like, you wild moron, you know? And we had to sleep in his room that night. So this 6-year-old, he was so excited to see Pete. He made a poster like, welcome, with the fireman on it.
Wait, you were in the race car bed?
We were basically in his whole bedroom was all like football stuff or whatever, you know?
Oh, he loves it so much.
Yeah, and then Pete comes in and he's all excited that he's meeting a fireman. He's like, want to play my game, Uncle Peter? You know?
He's just
and
running
then 5
trick
minutes,
plays,
the kid
running up
cried
the
so
score.
hard he punched a dog, you know? I was like,
A live
My man.
dog?
just let him. He punched their like house dog, Bruce. And I was like, why didn't you just let him win? He was like, it was just one play. I let him win the eventual. I'm like, just let him win. But he for some reason he needs to win games. But
That kid's a winner.
No,
Show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser.
yes. And he's the kid was 17, right?
yes, he was definitely in the winter of his life.
The winter of his life. Yeah, I just every time I hear, I'm just so I can't say it enough about Pete and Rachel. I'm just so it gives me so much hope in my own life. I was saying this the other night to you, and I'm sorry to repeat this, but like you were with some terrible men before
wild
Pete.
emergency,
and if you're a,
emergency
if you're a
assholes.
woman listening in, and Anya Marina as well. Like I don't mean to
Yeah.
project. I'm with
Project
terrible.
away.
I've been with some terrible men, excluding my ex-boyfriend, who I do think was a good person. So I'm not including him in this. But like the men that I've chosen since him have been like pretty bad and like not good choices. And it always makes me feel like, God, I'm so far from being able to accept a love from a man who is truly good and will love me. And I'm just like, God, I have years and I don't have many years. And what am I going to do? And then I see someone like Rachel who dated terrible men up until you met a man who is so good. And it seemed if you would have told me what Pete was like and what your relationship is like, I would have been like, Rachel's not ready for that. That'll be years down the road for her, like when she's ready to accept that kind of love and like that kind of man who's secure in himself, because in her past she's chosen. But then the fact that you were ready and in nothing in like leading, like you said, leading up to Pete, it was like disaster. Like,
I mean, just emergency, like wild, deep, haunting assholes.
It wasn't a slow build to Pete, is what I'm saying.
No.
The one before him was like, yikes.
Yeah,
right?
no. He was the one. Yeah, he used to take my computer, go through it, and then when I would and scream at me, he would come home with one. I come home, there'd be like one small light on, and he would be just like furious about something he found in my history.
It would
Like
be
a
like
detective?
shining down on
Yes,
him.
like under a lamp. Yeah, he would sit under this lamp, and he would be
Malden.
holding my computer, and
So
he's like,
what's this Yahoo.com?
and then he would put it in the freezer.
Oh,
so when he was
What the
mad,
fuck?
He'd freezer her things.
yeah, he would freezer.
I mean, that
things.
preserves them, but still, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well, instead of throwing my phone, which he did enough, threw my phone and computer a lot, then we would do a freezer run where he would just start running and put it in the freezer and scream like.
What actually makes a better toothbrush? Guys, we've been over this a million times. If you listen to the show, you've heard me talk about Quip. Quip is the best toothbrush I've ever had in my life, and I love toothbrushes. I try all the different kinds. Quip, I'm settling on you. I love it so much. It's lightweight, it's sleek, it feels like you're a rich person when you brush with it. It's like the heated toilet seat of toothbrushes. That's like when you sit on a heated toilet seat, you're like, this person's got some money if they have that in their apartment. If I see a Quip in an apartment, I'm like, wow, this person like cares about themselves and has money. Guess what? They're not that expensive. $25 is going to get you a Quip. What Quip sets Quip apart, of course, is the 2-minute timer. So it's going to go off after 2 minutes. That's the exact amount of time you should be brushing your teeth. I would beg you to try Quip out because I think you'll realize you're brushing a lot shorter than 2 minutes. 2 minutes feels like an eternity, but it's not. You need to brush for 2 minutes. It's changed my brushing habits forever. And that's what's most important about brushing. It's not about the bristles. It's not about the power. It's about how long you do it. And Quip is going to keep you honest about that. So get a Quip electric toothbrush starting at just $25. And then they're going to send you a brush head refill on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months. And you're going to get your first refill pack for free if you go to getquip.com/Nikki right now. That's getquip.com/Nikki. Make sure that if you get a Quip toothbrush, and it's because of me that you let them know it was because of me. So you got to go to getquip.com/Nikki right now to get your first refill for free. I really believe in them. I really want you to have better oral hygiene. It matters for your mental health. It matters about everything. And Quip has changed the way I brush my teeth, and I was already very diligent about it. So Quip electric toothbrush, getquip.com/Nikki. Do it. We're back. It's You Up with Nikki Glaser. What a read that was. I mean, I got to give myself a little gold star on that. If you're not sold on Quip after that, you're never going to be. You're just never going to be. So give it up. It's Tuesday's show. I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite shows, I think, already. JP McDade is here. Welcome to the show. This is your first appearance. It's already, you're just killing it, dude.
It's freaking crazy.
JP McDade, you can follow him, and I really recommend Twitter. He is such a good joke writer. Twitter is his medium. If you are on Twitter, you need to add him. It's so hard to get followers now on Twitter. No one's following anyone anymore. Everyone just feels like they're done.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre to me. I posted an example of this. Of one of my friends had a tweet that got 1 million, like it was the video clip in the tweet had over 1 million views. So the tweet itself got over 1 million views and the retweets like thousands. And on the tweet, you can see the insights of it and see how many people follow you from that tweet. 2 people.
No way.
Successful tweets do not get you followers anymore.
Every viral tweet now that has like 200,000 retweets, you look at their profile and they have like 345 followers.
So what I'm telling people, if you go on Twitter, you need to start, when you see something retweeted that's funny, go to their profile, take that extra step and give that person a follow.
Make sure it's not a fluke and then see.
You go and you read the first 5, you look at their pinned tweet, you see what they're proud of. Now I'm telling you, JP McDade is someone to follow on Twitter, and you can do that by going JP_McDade, DADE. And then on Instagram, he's hilarious as well. McDade Baby is where you'll find him on Instagram. Anya Marina is also here. Anya Marina, you can follow her on everything at Anya Marina, right?
That is correct. Yes.
And you post great shit all the time. Great follow. Rachel Feinstein, are you that active on Twitter?
No, just follow my Instagram. I mean, I just post shows on
Rachel
Twitter.
_Feinstein, FEINSTEIN. And let me tell you this, if you're in the New York City area, Rachel Feinstein is going to be headlining Gotham Comedy Club this weekend, which is rare. I mean, usually if she's in the city, she's just doing 15-minute sets. This is an hour of her doing her best stand-up. She is my favorite comedian. She is.
That's
if
fun.
you like me, you already know how much I love Rachel, and you're probably already aware of her. But if you are a fan of my stand-up, I'm heavily, if not like fully, influenced by Rachel Feinstein's comedic take and talent. So go watch someone who has inspired me in like a million ways, and who when she's on stage, I pay close attention and I laugh so freaking hard. It's like even bits I've heard before, and that is not regular for me. If I've heard a bit, I'm just kind of done with it. But I have requests for you. You know what I mean? Like
I show your clips to people I love who want to know what good comedy is.
I mean, whenever
I've shown your clip about your dad on Facebook and your parents multiple times to multiple people.
Yeah, she's
good.
also one that when girls come up to me, or guys, it's mostly women that go, I don't like female comics. And I go, well, I've got 2 for you right now that you need to check out. Rachel Feinstein and Lisa Traeger. If you like me, you're going to like them. Both women I watch that I'm like, they're doing next level shit. I was just talking about this to actually Phil Hanley the other night when you were sitting down at the table. I think you went down to do your set and we were talking about stand up, and I was like, clearly women are all my favorite comedians now. Like they just are my favorite stand-ups, because I think that they're talking about like emotions and vulnerability, and they're just more vulnerable on stage than men are. Men are still talking about like backpacks are weird, and women are kind of being like, I don't want, like they're just exploring things that are obviously more personal to me. I relate more. But I was telling Phil, like, because he was talking about a joke premise, or we were just talking about relationships, and he said something. Remember the back scratching thing he said?
Oh yeah,
he was talking about, and then I think you got up, but I continued it. He made some comment during our dinner and about how he in his a relationship wanted his girlfriend to like give him more affection, and it was kind of like weird because usually the girl wants more affection in a relationship. You're not touching me enough, and he was like, yeah, I just wanted to like her to scratch my back sometime, and she would always say, you know, like I'm bad at. He was like, she didn't know how to scratch a back, like she would literally just be like, like kind of, and he was like, and she used to say to him, Well, my mom never scratched my dad's back, so I don't know how to do that.
It's the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. Why would
It's not a Zen garden. You don't need to be too precise about it. Just kind of go to town.
So funny. That would be
get
great
in
to
there.
be your back scratched with one of those put little stones
Perfect.
and like trace around.
It is a back scratcher.
Yeah, it truly is. It's a tiny back scratcher. But he goes, yeah, it's easy to scratch someone's back. If you don't know how to do it, just listen to what it is. Back, scratch. Like it says.
You played the lottery. Give it a shot.
The instructions are in the name of the thing. And I was like, you need to talk about that. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I would challenge male comedians to dig a little deeper and to be a little bit more, because men are not taught to be emotional. So we're already have an advantage of what's in comedy right now, which is being vulnerable and emotional and honest, as opposed to just like talking about, which is still great comedy, like Brian Regan type observations, like arguably one of the best comics ever. And he doesn't really share much of himself, but I think people are craving, I want male comedians to like share more personal things, because when men in the audience see that, it makes them okay to express more, because they're seeing this guy who everyone wants to be. When a guy's on stage, everyone in the room wants to be you.
Yes.
Like men and the women want to be with you. When you're a woman on stage, men are just like, and I mean, some men. But do you ever feel that way? Like, I don't know what I'm talking about,
Yes,
but I just think that men need
my favorite stuff to listen to is like stories. I just love listening to stories and like vulnerable, weird, specific humiliations or rejections, anything like that you could share. And also I feel like it makes everybody feel less like alone and crazed, because
I think that's our job. And I know I don't mean to get on my like, comedians have like a responsibility, but you can influence people to feel better and more comfortable about themselves if you share weird shit that you think is only you, because chances are it's not only you. I will say, however, though, years ago, the first time I ever heard a comedian talk about being molested on stage was a man, and I was blown away by it. I mean, this was probably 10 years ago, which now I love that people
Jerry
are a little
Seinfeld.
bit. What's the deal with your dad?
Touching my dick.
Yeah. That I was blown away by that. But I think now, even with molestation, I find that people are more open to being like, yeah, I was molested. Like, I love when someone admits to being molested. Like, I know that's I'm sad for
anything
them.
that we have shame about. Yeah.
But molestation, I just feel like was this thing that the only time you heard about it was like when Oprah admitted that she had done it,
right?
Which obviously opened the floodgates. But like, if you were molested, it's like, everyone just feels like you feel like it's your fault. I mean, that's a normal thing to feel. Or if you were raped, like that girl that got on stage when Harvey Weinstein was in the audience.
Wild.
Did you see that?
That was insane.
She said, as a rape victim, she admitted to being raped on stage, which I thought was maybe the most powerful part of the whole thing, in which she called out Harvey Weinstein and said, I mean, that was truly one of the bravest things I've ever
And like
watched.
powered through when it was uncomfortable.
She was bombing.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
bombing.
And they were being hostile
And it was their
towards
fault,
her.
100%.
And it was
their fault.
yeah,
They
she
sucked.
was funny about it. She was uncomfortable about it because it was uncomfortable, but it was just honestly whatever, like that to me did more for me than watching a Chappelle special. I felt more empowered. I felt I wrote that girl, and you could tell she just wrote me like a blanket, like thank you, like on her DMs, because she's getting
Of
bombarded.
1,000, yeah.
Yeah, but she was just like, it means so much to me. It's been a hard week. Thank you. But I was just like, and then I wrote back this thing, and I'm like, I'm not going to bother her anymore. But what I wanted to tell that girl, what is her name? Can we look up her name? I'm so sorry.
Kelly
Do you know-
Bachman.
Kelly Bachman.
Yeah.
What I wanted to tell her was like, I was on stage differently that week, and I lived my life differently that week after seeing that, because I don't know if given the same opportunity to be on stage when Harvey Weinstein is in the room that I would have had the balls to do that. I don't think and everyone goes, yeah, you would. I'm like, I don't know that I would.
No.
Rachel, do you feel like?
I don't think I would be that brave. No, I think I think I want people to like me too much. Not that I would be like, I wouldn't be like soliciting Harvey Weinstein's affections necessarily, but I think I mean, it's like a shameful quality, but I feel like, I try too hard to be like not too much. You know, I'm always worried about being too much. It's like when I was a kid, everybody, like my mom would even say my step was too loud in the house. Like she'd be like, oh, your step, you've got to work on your step.
That's where comedians come from. I think being told to be quiet when you're a little kid has a huge impact
so much
on me. But can I offer a little counterpoint to the emotional?
Please.
And it's not just because I'm on a lifelong crusade against emotional intelligence, but I think a lot of good, funny stuff comes from like hiding your emotions. I remember being like when I was younger, I would watch like scary movies with my dad, and whenever there was a scary scene, he would comment that I would always like make a joke, like just to hide how scared I was.
Yeah.
And like that gets extrapolated to the rest of your life.
I think that's
Some people work better with like emotionally vulnerable stuff.
But you could do
robot
both.
types
You could
like me,
you could comment on that and then make a comment about what you just said. Like,
Right.
because I think that's interesting too. Because like guys like you, that I'm just assuming that like you grew up in like a somewhat cold-ish like
Catholic.
Yes, Catholic.
Yeah.
Repressed Catholic, right? Okay. So I find that endlessly intriguing too. So even being yourself and then afterwards like tagging it with what you just said is like fascinating to a
Yeah.
crowd.
Yeah, I think you could do exactly. I obviously comedy comes from a defense of not wanting to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And feelings are uncomfortable. So yeah, you're right that you
Deflecting,
are
yeah.
funny because you didn't want to feel scared in front of your dad, but. Like what you just said was funny, and you revealed to us that you were scared of it was vulnerable. So you can do both, and that's what I was telling Phil. I was like, you could still have your great one-liners because I vacillate between those two things too in my set, where I'll like have these long tangents of like, girls, you need to stop giving away you need to stop sucking dick if they're not going down. Like I'll go on this tirade that's a little bit like not as like punchline based, and then I'll feel like some of the guys kind of tuning out of like, okay, get off your soapbox, and then I'll go back and I'll be like, oh,
This is
you
propaganda.
guys, you guys think that I can't write a joke for a second? Well, here's a Tonight Show set, boom, 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 and I'll just rapid fire and prove myself again that I'm a great joke writer because I think we. Like in becoming more like Nanette and like being more emotional, we all fear that other comedians are going to be like, she's not even saying jokes. Like that's my fear at least. Is that
Me too,
the
definitely.
jokes will disappear if you get vulnerable, but I don't think they have to. And how were you? Can give us some background about you, JP? Because I don't know anything about you.
I come from a tri-state area Irish Catholic family. My whole family's like from Brooklyn. I was born in Long Island, grew up in Connecticut.
Where in Brooklyn?
Greenpoint.
Oh, wow, that's where I live. I love
Greenpoint and Park Slope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then grew up in Connecticut mostly, moved to New York for a finance job, blah, blah, blah.
You're giving
doing
us
open
facts. We want the emotion.
Give it.
Were
just
you
told.
held as an infant? Shit.
Yeah, like
How
she
long did your mom
breastfeed?
ignore you in
I
the
might have
crib?
been held too long. I don't know.
led to you becoming a comedian. You don't even have to tell us that.
Too much time alone with just Comedy Central in the
Yeah.
living room. That was it. Anyone who had a half
were your
hour
parents
special.
affectionate?
They were, yeah.
And
We're good.
so they were like physically affectionate and said, I
Yeah.
love you and all that kind of stuff.
To me, yeah. And like about as good as you can be as like with
No,
that
I have
background.
really good parents too.
But like, no, I mean, I'm qualifying it with like they're also Irish Catholic people, so it's like there's only so far you can go.
Repressed emotions.
But yeah, they did a good job. I feel.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a younger sister.
Okay.
And she's the cooler one. It's like all the older sibling stuff got heaped onto me, and it's like, okay, we're done. We're just gonna let the younger one go crazy.
What do
I
your
know, so
parents do?
My dad's a banker, and my mom manages at Chico's.
Okay. And you went into finance.
Yeah.
Did you think that that's what you want to do, or is that just a placeholder?
I was fully on board with like being a finance guy when I was like 22.
Wow.
Did your dad pressure you to go into finance?
Not really. He actually warned me against it. He was like, yeah, this is not the life that you want.
And how old are you now? Can I ask?
30.
30. Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you make the shift to comedy?
Can I make a confession to both of you now?
Yeah.
Right now? To Rachel and Nikki? I actually met you both right before I started doing open mics.
Really?
I used to just hang out at the cellar and like get drunk. Just to like be around it.
Yeah. So did we.
Yeah. And I remember I bothered you after a set. You were very nice. You came up to me and my friend at the table we were at in the showroom. And then you, Nikki, you know how you have to like go downstairs through the showroom at the cellar to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
I did that, and you have to like walk in front of the stage awkwardly. I did that, and I went back up, and then after the show, you came up. I was like, Nikki, I'm so sorry. I had to walk in front of you during your set. And you're like way nicer to me than you needed to be.
Oh, really? Oh, good. Wow.
So cute.
You threw hot coffee in my face, but other than that,
Well, it wasn't Starbucks, so
you would have had to wait 15 minutes. It wouldn't have worked.
I always like hearing that I was nice to people, but I'm a nice person, so I'm never actually
Even though you're dressed like
nervous.
Sarah
Very
Connor
warm.
right now, yes, you're a very nice person.
Who's Sarah Connor?
From the Terminator.
Oh God, you are.
For the listeners, gray tank top, blank
I know
black
she looks
cap.
very hot.
I
and
love
without
a black,
trying at all.
Black
Intimidating.
baseball caps are the coolest look to add to your life. It makes me feel
You look like you're on
protected.
a CBS drama.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about my hair.
Oh my God. There she is,
Oh
Sarah
my God,
Connor.
that's so.
God, I was obsessed with her. I got a personal trainer in the 90s to look like her.
Yeah,
Get
you
those
do look like
triceps.
you have her body.
No,
Anya. Yes, you do.
Now I do, because I've done
Nikki just put on
100,000
sunglasses.
push-ups.
Now I put sunglasses on, so now it's really popping off.
That's great.
Yeah, so I never. When people go, I met you. I never brace. Like, was I mean? I think there are some people that go, like, was I a bitch that day?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
usually
always
nice
warm.
to new
I
comics.
feel like I'm usually pretty warm to people too.
Yeah,
I
you were
hug
so
everybody
warm.
usually.
Yeah.
Unless you were like lecherous or like, hey, can I talk to you? Like that
Even
guy
worse.
with the roller suitcase the other day.
Oh, I have been.
Who's trying to spit game with a roller
snapping. Oh,
he
this.
was a vagrant.
I've been snapping. The other night at the Cellar. This is a different time. But the other night at the Cellar, the band was playing on Saturday night, like at the Olive Tree Cafe, which is the restaurant above the showroom. And I got a big table for 3 of my friends. And it was like a table that sits like 6 or 7. So it was a little obnoxious that I was getting that table. It was the only one available. So I sat my 2 friends. I had to go down and do a set. And this guy comes up and he's just has a drink in his hand. So I'm just like this drunk idiot. Like, and he goes, "Are you taking this table?" And I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "There's only 3 of you." And I was like, "I know there's just not another table. So we're sitting here." And he's just like, "Well, that's ridiculous." And I go, "Well, if another table opens up, we'll move. But until then, we're sitting here." And he was just like, and he puts his drink down and he's just like being ornery about, like, he's just not giving up. And I have to go down, like Val's like, "Nikki, you're up." And I go, "I have to go do my set now because I work here." Being like, "Don't tell me what table I can be at." And then I went down, did my set, came back up, and he's singing.
Oh my God.
He was working
Boss.
there too.
Boss move.
And I went over to I went over to Esty and before I went downstairs I go, "Esty, that guy over there is fucking drunk." And I just yelled at him and I told her what I said. I was like, "And I work here too." And she kind of looked at me like, "Who do you think you are? I'm not giving you spots next week." And then I went downstairs, came back up, and I was freaking out. I was like, he's like singing Despacito as I'm like looking at the table like shit. And he was like dressed like Carlos Santana, but like taller and a big hat, and he had a drink. And just when I know someone's drunk, I have no tolerance for it right now in my life.
He was rude. He
I'm
called
just-
you obnoxious.
Yeah, he had
You have every right to have 3 people in a
why was he
6-person booth.
questioning
but
your
I went
table?
from 0 to 10 very quickly. And I realize now I could have been a little bit more, because what happened was when I went downstairs, my friend Hannah and Elna just said, "Do you want to sit here, sir?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he just sat there and they got to be in their, and it was no problem. I could have just been like, "Do you want to just sit here and we can ignore you?" But I thought he wanted to like hit on my friends. So I
Yeah, it
was in
sounds
my,
like something you read in The Game or something stupid. It's like, oh, you put a drink on a
that's
girl's
what
table.
I felt. I
And
felt
nag
it was
her.
about sex, and I
Shows
felt
dominance.
it was drunk, and I felt it was about fucking my friends. And I get protective over my friends who aren't as brazen about being like, "Leave us alone," as I am, especially in an environment where I'm like, I work here, I own this place, like I had like a So then I come back up and Esty's gone at that point. And I walked over to Val and I'm like, "Val, I yelled at the man singing Despacito right now. I really yelled at him. I told him that I work here and I fought over a booth." And she goes, "Oh, Nikki." And I go, "Is he important?" And she goes, "No." She was like, "Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it." And so it was a moment for me to check myself, because I'm really proud that now I'm someone who isn't scared of men and isn't scared of them being like, "I would never fuck you," because that's my biggest fear, is that
She's like, "I killed the Terminator. I'm not scared of me."
Yes, I did. I think I had my hat on, and so I was feeling a little better. But my biggest fear in life, I realized when I was in high school and middle school, was like, I never spoke up about anything. And even in my relationships, I was just, and not so much in my relationships as this example, but like my biggest fear in life has always been that if I criticize or raise a complaint about anyone else, that they'll come back and say, "You're ugly. You're gross.
Me too, yeah,
no one wants to fuck
absolutely.
you." That's my biggest fear. And it's not about like, "You're not funny." I know I'm funny. I know, like, but someone calling me ugly, like saying something about me that would like, in front of, because I think it happened one time in like 5th grade. Someone was like, "You're a buck-toothed beaver," in front of the whole class. And I was just like, okay, I'm never talking again, ever. And so I was quiet my whole life. And so now, the other night though, we were leaving a restaurant, and it was me, Anya, Sarah, Lena, and Elna, my 3 beautiful friends, and me looking like Sarah Connor. And this guy wanders up with his suitcase. He's like homeless, but not
Homeless.
homeless. Thank
Yeah.
you. And he was being aggressive, and And I went from 0 to 10 to protect my friends. I was also on my period, so it was kind of like, back off, buddy. Like, I'm not feeling like a woman.
Yeah.
And I really got into defensive mode. I started yelling at him right away. They'll be like, we don't like what you're saying. Leave us alone. You're not going to get anything out of any of us. Go. Like, it was that volume. And it was like he came up.
Confirm.
It was crazy. I just couldn't stand it. And he goes, I would never fuck you. I want to fuck your friends. Like, that's what he said to me. My
he
biggest
said, out of all these girls, I would only fuck her. And points to the model.
He didn't say that.
Oh,
He
really?
said I would never fuck you. Elna retold the story differently, but I remember it. So he goes, I would never fuck you. And it was my biggest fear realized, and it didn't matter. It did bum me out a little bit that this homeless man would poop on his face.
Well, it's not true, obviously, but yeah.
But like to call out like, you're the ugly one of the group.
No, that's happened to me a couple times. I still remember in the 6th grade, at this Jew summer camp I went to, this guy was considering dancing with me, and then all the like asking me to dance. It was like there was the Jew boy and the Jew girl camp, and they had like a together dance, and all the camp counselors who were like, you know, to me there was like nothing hotter than the counselors, like had this huddle with him, and they were like, dude, you shouldn't ask her. He's like, she's gross, she's garbage. Ask the other one, she's the gross one. And I heard them coaching him to basically, and they sounded like mentors too. They're like, why would you do that? Like, you know, like value yourself. You don't need to touch this hog. And
What?
They had a huddle and explained to him like he needed to start having self-esteem and like go for somebody that was appealing and not this wild, disgraceful slop pile. And I still remember the huddle. It was a very painful huddle, you know? And then he just kind of retreated, you know?
The whole point of a huddle is that other people can't hear you. They're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
like,
I
huddle
know.
better.
They were really bad huddlers. But that stuff will stick with you forever. Like, comics do this thing, and I'm guilty of it too, so I'm not a victim, but they'll take the person, the worst version of you, and talk to them and be like, Rachel, you know, and then everybody turns around and you see your worst Rachel, and you're like, fuck, yeah, I could see it. Like, they'll take the worst version of you, like somebody that has some vague similarity.
They'll see a person in
the crowd.
That's like a common seller thing is like Keith Robinson, all those guys back there will see, someone will walk in that's like an uglier version of you.
Yes.
Or like a jacked
or like
up
if
version.
things go awry. Yeah. Like, you know, you could go down that road. And we were outside the Comedy Cellar, and I was walking in, and there was this woman outside who, again, homeless. She had a pile of trash that she was kind of working through and like poking at, and she had a lot of control issues with the trash. Like she was like, get out of here to people, and she had like some cans and stuff, and she looked like me, like she had my frizzy hair.
She's building an empire.
Yes, yeah, she was building like a trash empire, and she was like batting people away, like, "Don't you touch that, mister!" Ah. And I was like, and Keith was like, Rachel, settle down. Don't worry, the trash will sort itself out. And I was like, fuck, that's me. That's where I could go.
Oh, he called her Rachel?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what they do.
They'll find the worst
Rachel,
version
you
of what you
trash
can
monster.
be. Yeah.
My sister and I play that game whenever we were driving together, like in the Bay Area or whatever, like through downtown San Jose, and you see like a hunchback homeless man, and she'd be like, there's your boyfriend. Like, it was always that, just there's your boyfriend.
You guys should see, because I started this thing where girls look like me, and I'd have people send me people who look like me.
Yeah.
It happens so often that it is someone so like the opposite of what I want to look like. I've gotten almost immune to it. It's actually been helpful with me and my self-esteem is like, I can take anything now. People send me really ugly women, and they're like, it's your twin. And it's no offensive. They're beautiful people in their souls probably, but these girls are not attractive. And I'm like, I see it a little bit, you know, and it's
It's like Harvey Weinstein with blonde hair photoshopped on top.
Yes, it really is stuff like, the other day I posted a picture of Tom Hiddleston. Like there was this meme of him like looking like really sad and tired, and it's him in Harry Potter, I think, or whatever movie where he looks like a vampire, kind of. And it was a really funny meme. I forget what it was about, but someone wrote to me and said, I never knew how much you looked like Tom Hiddleston. And I just wrote back, I'm sorry that your mom made you feel ugly growing up. Because I knew that was the case. This guy's calling me ugly. You must have felt ugly growing up. And I fucking nailed it because he apologized. God, I wanted to say the one thing that you maybe deserve trashing from Keith, because you said that one of the most devastating things about Keith's special. What did you say that Keith's special was called?
He had an hour special out, and I got it going around. I got the rumor started that was called Winding Down on the Porch.
People would ask him about winding down on the porch.
So you're winding down on the porch, huh? The fuck you talking about, dummy?
He'd be like, God damn it, stop telling people my special's called winding down. He's like, that infuriates me. He said
Almost
people were
done.
congratulating him on like, oh, good going and winding down on the porch. Long time coming.
So sad.
Wasn't it
He's like,
back of the
shut up,
bus
you
funny?
goddamn twit. Rachel is an absolute twat. He's said some of the meanest but most hilarious things ever. We were driving a long time ago, and he was like, I'm gonna attack Rachel. I'm gonna rape Rachel, and my dad's a civil rights lawyer. And he goes, and I'm gonna have a dad defend me. He goes, I'm gonna call him up and I'm gonna say, this is the case that's gonna make you a star.
Oh my God.
He's such a sick asshole. But
the greatest
Rachel
thing I've ever
Feinstein
heard.
is here. JP McDade is here. Anya Marina is here. What an amazing show. We got to go to break. But guys, guess why crime rates spike on Halloween? It's because they know you're out and your home is vulnerable. They can watch on your Instagram when you're out of town, and they'll come rob you. So this is what you need. You need Blink on your phone. Blink security cameras set up all over your house. They're super easy to do. No one needs to come and install them. You don't need a little sign in your front yard. They're wire-free. They set up in minutes, and they run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years. And then when your cameras detect motion, it alerts you on your phone. You can pull it up right away, and you can see a live feed of what's happening in your living room. You can watch your pets. You can watch your packages. Set them up wherever you want. Right now, they are having a sale through November 3rd. 20% off Blink indoor and outdoor cameras and systems. 20% off. All you do is go to blinkprotect.com/sale. Blinkprotect.com/sale. And thanks to Blink, home security and Halloween just got easier. Also available on Amazon and other fine retailers. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. We'll be back with more You Up with Nikki Glaser after this. Dish Network has just developed the new Dish voice remote, and now that it's got the Google Assistant built in, your favorite game day recliner becomes a total home command center. Just say the word and the remote does the rest. It is awesome. You want to know a backup quarterback? When it makes me talk about sports, I just get so uncomfortable. Do you want to know a backup quarterback's stats? Ask the remote. Want to watch a different game? Just press the mic button on the remote and say Game Finder. It can even turn down the thermostat if you get into a heated argument about whether or not the receiver's knee was down before he got to the goal line. That's a sports thing. The point is, if you want a remote that makes watching the game better, Houston, this remote has no problem. Whew. The Dish voice remote with the Google Assistant, your TV, and a whole lot more are at your command. It does sound cool, even though this is hard to read. Dish, tuned into you. Voice functionality requires internet-connected hopper and compatible device. Google is a trademark of Google LLC. To learn more, dial 1-844-CALL-DISH. Visit dish.com or find a local retailer near you. Dish, tuned into you. And we're back at You Up with Nikki Glaser. JP McDade is in the studio.
Thank you.
Rachel Feinstein and Anya Marina. Go see Rachel Feinstein at the Gotham Comedy Club all this weekend, starting Thursday through Sunday. You doing Sunday?
I think I'm just doing
Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
What a great show that will be. Who do you have opening for you? Do you know?
I don't know yet. Yeah. I have no information,
Do you
but
bring
I
people
know that
on the road?
I bring people on the road when it's like when I'm not flying. Yeah. I
Oh.
always bring somebody if it's like driving distance, and then they drive because I don't drive.
But you bring Pete.
And I bring my
most
husband.
weekends.
Yeah.
But
most
do you ever
weekends.
go out alone anymore? Like I refuse to.
I rarely do because I make him come most of the time.
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah, I'm
great.
just
If I had a
unhappy.
husband that came with me, I wouldn't need to bring Andrew. But like, or I would take whatever person they give me. But like, I cannot go on the road alone anymore. I
think
won't do it.
I was telling you this, but I walked into the green room and he talks to the comics, but he doesn't always know what to say. And I heard him say to one of the comedians, "So how much time do you have?" And I was like, "Don't ask people how much time they
That
have."
sounds like jail.
I know, but he's like he asks like the opener, and it looks like I told him to ask that. He's like, "I mean, how much do you really have?" And I'm like, "No,
They're like, it could be
not
less,
a
sir.
question.
I could take some time off if that's what you want.
Yeah, that's so.
Am I in trouble?
Does he mean
loves
how
it.
long is your set?
He means how like much
How much
time
material they have.
do you have? But
Oh,
I mean,
that's
it's
how much
not
you
a
kinda
have
cool.
overall.
Yeah,
Yes.
he makes. I mean, no, but it's like, who the fuck are you to be asking a comedian? Yeah,
I mean,
you're
that's a
fireman.
question you maybe ask another comedian if you guys
Yeah.
are coming up 3
Yeah.
years in and you're
It's
just
not acceptable.
or a club
Gun to
owner.
your head. How much time could you fill right now?
Yeah, it's really not a good like. But he's just trying like
He doesn't know.
we don't. Yeah, that's almost like inside jargon, like that.
Exactly.
But you would probably say something dumb around firefighters.
Oh,
of
yeah.
like,
And we've all
Yeah.
been
how
there
often
as
do you use the
comics.
pole? Yeah,
They ask. They're like comics in that they get asked the same 3 dumb questions. Like they're always like, "Have you ever saved a cat in a tree?" Like there's the half
Yeah.
obvious questions.
Has your friend ever died in a fire?
That one we might not. We might wait on that one.
I'm trying to think of other comedians.
We've all been like openers, and you ask dumb questions to the headliner because they have more experience than you. You
Yes.
just
Yes.
don't know.
My
But that's
advice-
You
the
using
thing
a
is that
microphone tonight? Like,
My advice to up and coming comedians, I don't know about you, Rach, but like I always just say, the whole thing of like, first of all, don't ask for advice. Just like, I never.
There's nothing
once-
worse than somebody asking if they could pick your brain.
I know.
I've never once asked an older comedian to watch my set, to help give me notes, to
Never want
what.
that.
How can I be more successful? I'm not saying that those. I'm just different than other people, but I don't think it's necessary to do. Just if you want to do stand up, just do it. And then if you love it, you won't have to like force yourself. Like for me, getting on stage as much as possible is something that everyone gives. That's the advice you give comedians. Just go on stage as much as possible. There's no other way to get better. Take any chance you get. That's the blanket statement that we all give every up and coming comedian. I didn't have to hear that because I did it because I wanted to go on stage as much. So like I didn't need.
Yeah, don't give
told
older
that.
comics assignments. Don't make them do anything. You do your assignments. Just like go get up, tape your sets, and just keep practicing.
And also, my biggest piece of advice: be a fun hang, which
Yeah.
starts with not asking for advice.
Yeah.
Because the best way for a comedian to get better is to go on the road. The only way a comedian can survive going on the road before they're a headliner is if a comedian brings them out and supplements their income that they're making at the club with extra money as like their opener. Like Andrew could not afford to be doing
Yes,
what he
that's
does
what
if I
always
didn't
do,
pay him
just
extra.
I tip out the host and the feature. And all
Yes.
that,
Yeah. So like, but be a fun hang because I got brought along because I was a cool hang and not annoying.
Yeah.
And talking about jokes constantly.
No one wants
and-
to talk about the business and jokes. Don't do that when people
Just
are
be
working.
cool.
I never
That's
want to
the
talk
number
about
one
the
advice.
business or like dissect jokes when I'm sitting around in the green room.
have some good gossip.
Yeah,
Got
that's
to come
good
armed,
too.
You know,
Yeah, that's pretty.
That is really good.
Be able to like just be cool. And some people just can't. So then they're not like no one's gonna help them.
if
really.
you're not cool, bring drugs.
That's
Supplement your
that's a big
personality.
thing. I always tell local comics, get the headliner weed. If you know they smoke weed, just get them weed, even if you think they might have it. That is such a no one's gonna turn down weed. Get them offer to be of assistance in any way. Can I drive you someplace? Just whatever you can give
But
them.
don't
with your,
offer Coke. Coke can get you blacklisted.
Yeah, don't.
I feel like that people, if someone offered me Coke, I'd be like, I never want to talk to that person.
Yeah, that would be weird. But like, if I'm coming to town, offer me weed. It's commonly known I like to smoke weed. And if I don't feel like having it, I'll just be
And
like,
a
no
lot
thanks.
of people smoke weed. You don't know
Yeah.
if people do blow. If you want to offer somebody blow, just put a little on your nose, and they'll know it's available. They'll ask
Yes.
if they need some.
Yeah. I'll just be like, do you have any powder? An extra powder that I can use? Like, I would have been like,
Concealer.
that a highlighter?
I think "Can I pick your brain" is something that everyone says, but what it really means is I would like to hang out with you. I want to get to know you.
Do you
In
get
my
that a lot in music?
Yes, a lot. People want to pick my brain about how to get into film and TV because I've had a lot of success there. And there's nothing I can, it's the same exact advice. It's like, first of all, I don't want any new friends. I don't want to meet any new people. I don't want to meet any new musicians. I don't want to listen to any music. The other day, I have to respect this guy. Some guy wrote me a DM and said, hey, I remember you from San Diego radio because I was a DJ years ago and I used to listen to new bands all the time and I had a show about local music. And he was like, I know you're good at picking out radio singles. Would you listen to my band's album? I will pay you. And I was like, yes.
okay, that's
So I did it. And it was a very small amount of money, but I was like, I actually would enjoy doing this for
Yes.
like, you know,
however
some
long-
Starbucks.
Yeah.
So that will buy my Starbucks
That was
for a
smart. 'Cause,
week.
like asking for 45 minutes of your time. That's not that's serious.
That's a lot of time.
That's a really good point. Like if my friends, I paid all of my friends who helped me with notes and stuff like that. I believe I paid you for notes when I was making people watch my special. Like none of that went unpaid. I don't ever expect anyone to watch my set. So offer something. But the pick your brain thing, I just think it's their way of being like, how did you get that?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I also think they want to get to know you. They want to know how you got. You're right. They want you to help them. Like, can you give me some email names, that I could send my music to these people from these places? I'm like, do you think I knew how to get on Grey's Anatomy? I just years ago when Grey's Anatomy was a show, I looked at the end and it said like music supervisor, and I think I knew someone in town who had a list of people that you send stuff to, and I just sent all my 100 CDs out.
Well, there you go. That's how you did it.
Yeah.
So that could actually, but like, just figure it out. If you're passionate enough about something and you care enough, you will succeed. I really believe that with comedy. You can be not funny, and if you go on stage enough and you watch enough comedy and you work at it, you can be successful. If you're not a naturally funny person, I really do think that you can be successful in comedy. It's magic.
You can get to a level of competence over time where you're like, you are a stand-up comedian. You might not be the funniest person.
Yes,
but
agreed. But people will
You
come
might
see
not
you
be a
and you will work.
sensation.
And if
You
you're a good
will
enough
work.
business person, you can, get out there and get yourself booked, and then people will come
Yes.
see you anyway.
Yeah, you can make a living doing it, even if you're not someone who's naturally inclined to do stand-up, just by like working hard. But that's
we
what it
could
comes
do a
down
whole
to.
show just naming successful comics who aren't funny.
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
they're
yes.
everywhere.
I took an acting class years ago when I was like 20 from Richard Dreyfuss.
Nice.
And he said ambition and talent equal success, but you can't have success with one of those things. You have to have both talent and ambition. And he goes, I'm sure you all know people with loads of talent and no ambition, and they're in their bedrooms like making the world's greatest album that no one will ever hear, or like they're the best actor or the best comic or whatever. And I think about that all the time. I don't have equal parts, but I have enough of both. And I'm sure you guys relate, but we've all seen people that are brilliant and they're just like in their bedroom.
Yes.
They're too scared to get up on stage or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the funniest people I know don't do stand-up. Some
Seriously.
of the people that, like my best friend from middle school, Kirsten, who's been on the show before. She makes me laugh in a way that I can't even, like, can I just play this thing that she sent the other day? This is so funny, and I hope it checks out. But she sent this video of her dressed like gothic for Halloween, and she's sitting in her car, and her husband is pumping the gas. And where is it? God damn it! I'll cue it up to play later. But she's just like, infinite sorrow here, and where is it? God damn it! I really gotta find it. Oh my god, it's so funny. But she goes, infinite sorrow would like some Trident gum. She's telling her boyfriend who's about to go into the gas station. It was so funny. But like, yeah, I remember always being like, she's gonna get to be on SNL someday. I'm so fucking jealous. And she's a personal trainer, and it's not because she's not successful or didn't work hard. It's just like,
And then there are so many people that are successful and they have all these followers, and you're like, you're just mediocre.
yes,
You're just.
And they just
And I've never laughed so hard as I did when I was like with my high school and college friends just hanging out. And that's one thing that kind of discouraged me from doing comedy, because I'm like, oh, if my friends are this funny, then comedians have to be 10 times funnier. I'll never be able to do it, but they're not.
They're not. Hold on. Here's Infinite Sorrow.
Even goths need to pump gas for their Honda CRVs.
Her husband's dressed like
Just a regular
Tom
guy.
Selleck, Magnum PI, and he's pumping gas, and she's in the front seat, dressed like a total goth.
Hello? Infinite Sorrow would like some Trident gum.
He's just like, what?
We've got Magnum PI. And perhaps a disturbed individual right here. Blessings to you tonight.
That's a really good English accent,
I
by
know.
the way.
Blessings is such a foolish thing
Blessings
to
to you
say.
tonight is so funny. I was like, she's as funny as Rachel Feinstein. Like, it just
Unexploited talent.
the infinite sorrow with like some trident gum. I'm like, that bitch is a personal trainer in Kansas City, and she's funnier than most stand-up comedians. Like, it's just one of those things. But I remember,
Blessings to you is such a ridiculous
it's
dumb
so
thing to say.
funny. God
You should
damn.
cop that.
Blessings is so funny.
Yeah, seriously, steal that word and add it to your collection of hilarious words that you use all
Anybody
the
that
time.
that like
blessed.
introduces something like that heavy into like a casual greeting, it's just so funny. Like I know this guy. Whenever I see him, he always goes shine. He tells me to shine.
I don't like
asked-
that.
There was this waitress who used to work at the cellar, and she would go up and she would pray at people. You know, she'd do like a pray and a bow and like thank people, like thank you, you know. And I saw her do it to Horatio Sands. I just thought it was such a funny person to walk up to and just she bowed.
bow.
She gave him like an LA bow, and she was just like, I just want to say thank you.
For his performance or his
guess
for
Praising
his-
Horatio Sands.
Contribution or something.
For his Christmas song with Chris Kattan holding the
Oh
keyboard.
yeah, that was good.
What are you grateful for? I came from Cafe Gratitude to
Oh
be
my
here.
god, I said shall the other day. I was having a procedure
No, you were wearing
done,
a shawl.
and I go, shall I shift? Like I was like, shall I? And I was like, did I just say shall? Like, just can, Nikki, can.
I like shawl.
Should. And I said shall, and I almost called it out, but I think she even clocked it. Like, that was,
I like saying it during lovemaking. Shall I get the condom?
that's what I was having. I was lovemaking. It was I called it a procedure. I was having sex. And I
was
said,
just
shall I
doggy
shift?
style.
Yeah. Speaking of sex, you've been having a lot, Anya.
Okay.
Ooh, really?
Is that good?
Is it good?
Yes.
Wow.
That's really good.
Can we talk about the weird sex you had?
What was the weird sex?
Tantric?
In a haunted house.
I did read a book about tantric sex. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Although could be more practical. There weren't enough examples. It was just like, okay, this is an entire book just about like get on top of each other and breathe and don't thrust and just do that for a long time. It could have been one chapter.
But that sounds to me like hell. Like, it sounds
No,
like,
it's
well, it just
cool.
sounds like, to most people, I'm trying to shift to my seat.
Nikki's
I'm trying to
thrusting.
move up.
You're just like
So
fucking the
it
air.
it sounds to me like you just lay there. Like, what I'm trying to get at is like, it doesn't sound like much, but what is it? It's great, right?
It's
I don't
less
think I
sex
did
than
it
a
right.
bad conversation.
Yeah.
Just like silent with each other for a long time.
It's like
no,
a
I
touching
think it's
podcast.
the kind of sex you've been alluding to with your whole no coming thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like, first of all, it starts with a lot of touching and talking and caressing and all of that. And then,
Is the talking optional?
yeah, the talking's optional.
It sounds like a real hassle.
In the book, it says you're supposed to put the flaccid penis into the vagina.
Oh, my
How do you
stars.
do that?
What in the
Wow, that's, yeah, how
Just
do you do
stuff
that?
it in there. I
Okay.
guess it's possible, but we didn't do that.
That's foolishness. That's a step to skip.
And
And then the guy gets on top of you and I have to reread the book. I don't know if I did it right, but you lie there and no thrusting. You just like get your breathing in tune with each other and no talking.
You have to listen to the same podcast while you do it. So you sync up. Getting a
It's just a podcast about chess. And
what's happening, what the fuckers, what the fuck mix.
stamps.com. And then eventually there was sex. There was thrusting. And it was
but
great.
didn't you say it like all of a sudden it's like, whoa, and then
Yeah,
you're
it
like
was like
coming
this-
from
you're
a
sort of
limp
like,
dick inside you?
No, it's hard. It's hard.
It gets hard.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, our breathing is sort of in tune, I guess. And then you're like, oh, it's really not in tune. Hold on. And then for like another minute, you're like, this is boring. And then you're like, oh, our breathing is in tune. And then you're like, am I him? Is he me?
Whoa.
Wait, is his dick? And then you like lose track of where you start and they begin. And you're like, it feels like his dick is me. And then you're like, we're one thing. And then you're like breathing the same. And then
there's
you're like,
no movement.
oh, we're gonna fuck. Like, there's no way we can't thrust. And then all of a sudden you're having sex, but it's like slow. And then you're like insanely aroused. And then your body's doing these weird things where you're like, I'm probably gonna have like 10 orgasms. Like you're sort of out of control, and then it was just great. It was
Well, that doesn't sound like what I've been getting at, which is like not coming. You just said
you
10
could
orgasms.
stop yourself easily though from having an orgasm.
So I read
but
this
it just
book that
feels amazing.
Orgasms are ruining our lives. Like they make women really depressed. And I got a DM. Like my listeners know a lot about this. It's called Cupid's Poisoned Arrow. It's about how male orgasms make men want to run right afterwards because orgasms are literally signify the end of a relationship between two human beings. Like based when we were back in tribes and like where we come from, our DNA is like when men come, they just want to flee and go fuck other things because the winter is coming. You got to make as many babies as possible. Everyone in your tribe is ovulating at the same time because they all sync up. So you got to go fuck something else. You can't get something pregnant twice. There's no point to cuddle a woman after sex. You're done with her. Like you're moving on. So,
Well, if you like her.
No,
That's what men say.
Cavemen, no. Well, the thing
Joe
is,
Rogan said the same thing.
but what I will say is that there are exceptions to this. Of course, guys cuddle you after sex, but you're fighting an undercurrent of your body wanting to flee. Whereas if you didn't come, you wouldn't be fighting that constantly. So
That's why your arm falls asleep. It's evolution. So
Yes.
you escape.
Yes,
Get out.
You can't have
You
a
don't
bow
want
and
a
arrow
127-hour
if you-
situation.
Yes, but then for women, orgasms make us depressed 4 or 5 days later. So it's hard to track and it's hard to even connect it because we treat depression with orgasms. So we're treating the thing that it's being caused with the thing that's causing it. It's like smoking cigarettes. Like if you need a cigarette because you've had one before and you are addicted. So this girl wrote me DM. She goes, I've been conducting the research and the last 5 times I've came. On the 4th day after, I've cried. I don't think I can come anymore. So she's done the research. And she said, I will say that if you have sex every 3 days, you cheat the depression and restart the timer.
Oh, interesting.
Noah, you've done a lot of this research. What have you found recently? Are you still on the no cum train?
No, actually, I did masturbate like 2 nights ago, and then yesterday I was so like I was just like I felt insane, and I was so sad about something, and then like I went to get a manicure to like try to make myself feel better, and as I'm going home, I was like, wait a minute, I think I'm depressed because I had 2 orgasms last night.
Yeah.
After like not masturbating for like I don't know, almost 2 months.
Yeah.
I've been doing a masturbation thing where I'll masturbate, but I won't have an orgasm. And then I feel, but it's so hard to stop.
But how long is it uncomfortable when you stop?
No, it's like, I feel like while I'm doing it, I'm like, I deserve this orgasm.
Yeah, you
I
convince
want
yourself
it.
you deserve
And
it.
then I'm like, don't do it. And then right before I stop, and then I feel like I did have one.
Yes.
I'm skipping around my house. I'm in a great mood. It's bizarre.
Yeah. It only takes a little bit of willpower to stop in that 1 second.
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable to stop because you want it so bad, but the feeling goes away almost instantly.
And
It's
you
not like a
feel
prolonged, like, I
exhilarated.
didn't come. You have so much more energy.
Yes.
I did it the other night where I stopped myself before I came, and I think I was starting to a little bit, and that is what led me to erratically spend yesterday. Like another symptom of
Yes.
the depression
is ASOS orders.
it's an ASOS orders.
Yes.
Yeah, ASOS orders.
What is that, a shoe?
ASOS is it's
ASOS.
a clothing company
Oh,
that's
okay.
cheap and ships fast and has everything.
I know. Thank God my roommate orders from ASOS because her ASOS, not roommate, neighbor, her ASOS orders make me feel better about mine, because I have a lot of shame about it. But I feel like we're kind of like lacking your insights here.
Yes.
You've been
I'm
really,
learning so much. I'm just taking
you've
it all
been
in. Like, it's fun.
hauntingly quiet, and I'd like to hear about
I've
what
drifted
you do
farther
after an orgasm.
into the corner.
Yes. Are you currently in a relationship? Are you having regular sex?
Not really in a relationship.
But you have
I've
regular
seen
sex
some-
with someone.
That means he's
More or
trying
less.
to inch out of one with the person he's with right
I
now.
know this
Yeah.
poor
It's
girl
hard.
listening. She's like, I can't wait to hear you on that show.
Her
It's so
fault.
exciting.
But no, I'm always caught in limbo.
Yeah, you're
But-
always like not ready. Would she like a relationship with you?
It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell because it's like in the early stages.
He's avoiding
But
the
I had,
question.
no, but no, I had one like in the last couple of years where it was like a prolonged, like friends with benefits situation.
Oh,
for,
wow.
like, a year, but it was like a year and a half, and she didn't want the relationship.
And you wanted it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, and
It was hard for me to admit it, but yeah, I did.
what? And how did that eventually end?
We just kind of like phased each other out.
Because
Eventually, and-
you both didn't want what each other she wanted to keep it casual.
I realized it wouldn't have been a good relationship if we had actually made it official and gotten into it, but she was very clear about it. My voice is cracking. I'm crying.
That was not cute.
I just hit second puberty while talking about this. It's not a good look. But
That's the kind of vulnerability we're looking
we are
for.
looking for. We're looking,
We
looking
like
for
that.
cracks in voices. No,
Also, yeah, that's the kind of stuff. If you talked about that on stage, that would be really funny as well, because it's just like, because they wouldn't expect you to talk about that. And then it's like so
guys
Yes,
are
we
exciting.
never
always the
hear the
ones
guy-
that want to keep it like friends.
Yeah.
Like, let's not make this
to be
serious.
honest, that's usually been me. I feel like I was getting karmic revenge for all the times I was like,
Did
I
you
don't
want her
anything
because
serious.
she didn't want you? Was that part of it?
No, it was even before I knew that she didn't want a relationship. I was like, oh, this is going to happen. She's going to be my girlfriend.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
What did you like about her?
I don't, we really connected. We had like, she was funny. We both, our sense of humor lined up, and like the time we spent together was like really, really cool. And,
What makes you
know,
think it wouldn't have worked out?
Just like, I think she was a little bit wild.
Oh,
She was like kind of
Alcoholic?
impulsive. She was going to run around a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the girl you're seeing now, it's just you guys are both on the same page about it being pretty casual. How long has it been going on?
It's only been like a couple of weeks, and it's like been sparse. So
Are
it's
you
hard to-
sleeping together?
Yeah.
Okay, watch out. You know that like girls like get super like connected when you have sex,
the
even
latch
if
on.
even
It's
if they're
one way
like,
or
no,
another.
it's fine.
It's case by case though, I think.
What do you
feel-
like?
do you
I
feel
don't
like
think so.
you are open to that? Or are you having like feelings?
I'm usually pretty clear on what I think about that. It's like, oh, I'm either all the way in or all the way out, and now I'm truly like on the fence.
Well, let's go to a caller.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good place to be, I think. I think that thinking you know what you want is actually so often you're wrong. Like I think that a lot of times I do with guys where it's like if they're into it, I'm ready for a relationship, and it's like, well, I don't even know this person at all, and I'm already 100% in, and I'm giving myself no autonomy to actually select them. I'm just like, I hope he likes me. And it's this should be a two-way decision. I'm on the fence about you too.
Here's my outlook, and tell me like what you think about this as comics, because it's a solitary pursuit. We're out there on the road and stuff, but like I've always thought I'm going to stay single for as long as I can. But if like the right one comes along, I'm not going to be dumb about it. I'm going to like move some things around and like make that relationship work if that happens.
No, I
Is
think
that
that's
your
good.
Point of view?
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
think
great.
I think you're also thinking like you want to get as much pussy as you possibly can. You want your numbers to be as
See
high
what kind of
and
TV
dense.
jobs come
Yes.
about, and then we'll
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pushing back on it. It's like that kind of weight training where you have to push something away. Yeah, that's what you're doing. But you want your numbers to get as high as possible and to get
Build
as
the
much
resume.
variety of ass under your belt. But you don't also
I think
want to
you
lose the
should
girl
do
you
that.
like.
You're young
Yeah.
and you're
No, it's
up
true.
and
You
coming.
should.
You should get a ton of ass right now because you will end up with someone and then you won't be getting that ass anymore, and you should feel like you have it out of the way. But I also agree with you, and I feel that I've come to the same conclusion of like you should the work. If I put in work to something, it should be my work. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be a relationship. Like I don't want to have to like do sets in my You know what I mean? Like. Relationships are work, but I think that overwhelmingly, and I said this yesterday, it's like when it's right, it's just easy. Like for you, now your relationship that was hard for a while, now hasn't it been very easy since it's been right?
We were talking about that over the weekend, that it feels like this almost like Shangri-La, which is always what I've wanted. Like I want to go out into the world and do my music and tour and play and live my life and pay bills and do all the adult things I'm supposed to do. And then when I go to my relationship, I want it to be fun and sexy. And it's just like relaxing. It's like I spent the weekend with my boyfriend and his dog and like watching him make me a fire and like cooking together and laughing and just like futzing around the house. It was so fun. It was just like my dream weekend.
Yeah,
it's
whenever
easy.
people talked about that ease, I didn't buy it. I just felt like they were charlatans, or they were just capable
Yes.
of an ease I was incapable of. But
Agreed.
then I was like, oh yeah, I have that ease thing now. Yeah, when people spoke of it, I didn't care for it.
And then it won't rearranging your life will not feel like it won't be like, oh, I can't take this set. It'll be like,
Yeah.
I want to not go do that I would prefer to hang out with this person than do that dumb set in front of 4 people in a bar.
Now, like you're both really successful, but it's like, was there on the up and coming part? Were there times where you would look at the basic life, so to speak, and be like, oh, I want that.
Yes.
Was that really appealing?
I wanted it so bad.
Yes.
I was so jealous of like the kind of girls in my shows that would be like on date nights, they would be holding on to the back of their boyfriend's like belt loops, and I just felt like this like gangrenous fuck toad that would perform for these like lovely girls, and their guys would just kind of like hug them a little harder that night because, you know, of this dark but entertaining swine they watched. You know what I mean? I just felt like I made them closer.
Thank
because
God
they
you're
would
not
go
her,
out.
babe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and I
feel
believe
that
that's
too.
true. I think men walk out,
Which
and
isn't the case, but that's what you were thinking.
I think they like the way they rub when men leave my shows with their girlfriends. The way they rub their backs, like they're thanking them that they're not me. They're like,
I agree. I agree.
Like, thank you for not being a workaholic. That's going from
Yeah,
Thanks for not
that's the
talking so much, babe.
JP, to address what you're saying about like now that I've like I quote unquote made it or whatever, I never at one point in my career was like, I don't want a boyfriend. I have to focus on my career. If anything, I wanted one so bad. But what was happening was I wasn't leaving any time for one. I look
Yeah.
back and I'm like, I
Yeah,
still don't
me
leave
too.
time
When
for
would it
one.
have happened?
When a guy asks me out, I'm just like, no. Why would I?
Yeah.
First of all, I'd have no availability in the next 2 weeks, which is when you'd probably want to go out with me because I had to put in my avails 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago for the next 2 weeks.
You
so
can
like,
walk with me
I-
from the cellar to the stand.
Yeah.
That's about
yeah,
it.
that's it. And so
Yeah.
She's had dates like that.
I do. I'd have dates where it's like, if you can't hang out with me doing sets, then we're not going to work anyway. And I can't take a night off to get to know someone who I might hate. I would resent you so much if I went to dinner with a guy that I just didn't like that much and I didn't work that night and go to where I really want to hang out. Like
How did you meet your husband, Rachel, in the midst of this?
we were
Yes,
set
great
up. I mean,
question.
I first of all really wanted to meet somebody at that point, and somebody told me that men hang out at steakhouses. This is really dark, so I went
Sick.
to a steakhouse hoping that I'd meet a guy. It was surreal.
Morton's, Houston's,
you went and got a
Hillstone?
blowout before you
Keens.
went to
Keens.
Keens.
Good taste.
Yes.
Yes, it was meant to be.
And I was like, I figured, you know, I mean, it was deeply sad. And my friend met me there, and she's just really hot. She always, I feel like she's married, but she has that confidence that, like, I would think that, but I would never actually talk to somebody someplace. She's like a little older than me. She'll hand a man a matchbook, like it's the 20s, and be like, think about it, sweetie. You know,
With her number on it.
yeah, she just goes around like
Just put
matchbooking
your lips
people,
together
and she
and
doesn't
blow.
question. You know, I'm like, and she'll wear the most outrageous things, and I'll be like, "Do you ever like change? Like, do you ever like think?" She's like, "No, sweetie, I always know I'm wearing the right thing." Like, she really is a character like that because she's just always been hot. She likes flirting. She's married now. So she went out with me, and I was like, I like people to tell me what to do with my life. Like, like people to tell me I only have one option. That's why I
Yes,
like New York, because I
agreed.
like people to be like, it's disgusting outside.
Yes.
You've got to go this way. You know, there's one
Love
way
it.
to go. I need
Same.
and so I need somebody to tell me exactly what to do. And no, I don't like any vagueness. So I met her at this steakhouse bar, and she was like, "Sweetie, you need to be with a fireman, sweetie." She's married to a retired fireman. So she was like, "Sweetie, of course you need to be with a fireman. They're like comics. They joke all the time, sweetie. And they work weird hours." And I was like, "Okay, yes, I need one option, only one, you know?" And so she texted her husband and her stepson, actually, who's like our age and works with my husband. So, and he texted back 2 options of firemen, which I thought was so weird that he had 2 ready on his phone. The first one
He had a
was
calendar.
Yeah, just a fireman FDNY calendar.
These are his avails.
Yeah.
Just 2 greased men on rocks. But he sent one guy who was like getting out of a pool, and he just had a really gross expression. I didn't care for him one bit. And then he sent my husband now, who I thought was really hot, but he looked like a tool. And I was like, this is derailing my path to go.
Yes.
I was like, this guy's he's full of lies. But then we went out to this FDNY Christmas party, and I brought 2 of my friends who fucked firemen that night, and then he came there to meet me or whatever,
And that's what happened.
I talk about it on stage, but how disgusting is this description? His buddy called him up and he goes, "How would you like to meet a semi-famous Jewish jokester?" It sounds like
And
a
what did Pete
character
say?
How
from
is
like
the worst part jokester?
jokester.
Yes.
It sounds like a character from Fiddler on the Roof or something. Just some old heinous woman selling riddles on a corner or something.
That sounds like a way the New York Post would describe you.
I know you're
So hard.
Oh my God. Yes. Or Trump.
This
Yeah.
giggle gal. Go fuck yourself.
We got to go to break. Rachel Feinstein, semi-famous Jewish jokester. You can see her at Gotham Comedy Club this weekend. JP McDade is here. Anya Marina is here. What actually makes a better toothbrush? Industrial strength power, claims of miracle trendy ingredients, multiple modes. If you ask your dentist, they'll tell you it's less about the brush and more about how you use it. Quip was created by dentist scientists and product designers to focus on what actually matters for your oral health. Healthier habits. Quip's sensitive vibrations with a built-in timer guides gentle brushing for the dentist recommended 2 minutes. With 30-second pulses ensuring an even clean. Quip automatically delivers brush heads to you every 3 months for clean new bristles right on schedule. The sleek, intuitive design is simple to use and comes with a travel cap that doubles as a mirror mount. These thoughtful features make brushing something you actually want to do twice every day. Good habits matter to live a healthier life, so help form fresh oral health habits with Quip. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/Nikki right now, you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/Nikki, getquip.com/NIKKI. We'll be back with more show after this. Dish Network has just developed the new Dish voice remote, and now that it's got the Google Assistant built in, your favorite game day recliner becomes a total home command center. You just say the word and the remote does the rest. It is awesome. You want to know the backup quarterback's stats? Ask the remote. Want to watch a different game? Just press the mic button on the remote and say Game Finder. It can even turn down the thermostat if you get into a heated argument about some sports shit. The point is, if you want a remote that makes watching the game better, you gotta have this voice remote from Dish. The Dish voice remote with the Google Assistant. Your TV and a whole lot more are at your command. Dish, tuned in to you. Voice functionality requires internet-connected hopper and compatible device. Google is a trademark of Google LLC. To learn more, dial 1-844-CALL-DISH. Visit dish.com. Or find a local retailer near you. Dish, 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 dish. And we're back at You Up with Nikki Glaser, Rachel Feinstein at Gotham Comedy Club all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Come see her do her full hour headlining set. That is the place to be this weekend in New York City. JP McDade, hilarious writer. Follow him on Twitter, JP_McDade. And Instagram, McDade Baby. Both just a great follow on both of those. And then we've got Anya Marina.
I'll be in Portland, Oregon this weekend if you're there.
Nice.
You wanna
Doing
see
a
me.
house concert?
Yeah, it's in a hair salon, but they do these music shows, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
So fun. What night?
AnyaMarina.com for tickets. Saturday night.
Great. Saturday night, go see Anya Marina in Portland, Oregon. I will be in Albuquerque at the Santa Ana Star Casino. Tomorrow night, I'm doing Tulane University. Try to sneak into that if you can in New Orleans. And then Friday, Saturday, I am in Albuquerque. I would love to see you at those shows. It's